Welcome to the Breakfast Leadership Show, where we interview global thought leaders on business, leadership, and life. Here's your host, keynote speaker, best-selling author, and chief burnout officer of the Breakfast Leadership Network, Michael Levitt.
Welcome back. I've got John Medina online. John, how are you?
I'm doing great, Michael. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. You do some interesting work around the homes business. So why don't you share a little bit about you and the work you do?
Yeah, so I have a company, John Medina Buys Houses. We're located in Los Angeles, San Pedro, California, exactly, down here in the harbor. And we basically just, we buy and sell houses. Now, when we buy them, we buy them directly from people, have a website, and do some Google marketing and a lot of social media, a lot of content out there to kind of show what kind of company we are. So we buy houses directly from homeowners. And then from there, we fix them up and then we turn around and sell them to people. So it's an interesting business. I'm not a real estate agent. I don't pretend to be one either. But my partner, Ricky, I have a partner, Ricky, he's a real estate agent. So I kind of run the kind of the buying side along with him. And then I fix them up and then I hand them over to him and then he sells them because he is a licensed agent. So he sells them on the back end there and then we sell them to families. And it's kind of cool. Hopefully we improve the neighborhood. So a lot of these houses we buy, in distress and from distressed people that have situations going on. So it's kind of nice that we're able to alleviate the stress from them buying their house in a simple way with a kind of a simple process using cash and just making it real easy on them. And then the purpose, the whole point is hopefully we can get a nice family, fix the house up, make it really nice, improve the neighborhood, and get a nice family in there to kind of start their life in there or continue it. So it's great.
Yeah, it's definitely great work, and it helps prevent the dreaded foreclosure sticker on the door if they're unable to sell or whatever the situation is for the family that needs to sell the home. So, and the fact that you go into it and your skill set and your background in construction, which we talked about in the pre-show, definitely helps that you can get these things turned around, and you're going to be using quality materials and all of that, and the people that buy the homes are getting a house that was fixed up in whatever ways it needed to be fixed, and then it's like a brand new home in many cases, and you have a new people in a new neighborhood, and that you can transform a neighborhood, especially unfortunately I think in many situations, and this pandemic is no different than the Great Recession, where a lot of people, and unfortunately some communities as well, have really had a difficult time because jobs were cut or people were sent home or laid off because they couldn't work because it wasn't safe during the pandemic. And I know that the great state of California is still kind of fighting through that, but the mask mandates for those that are vaxxed are coming to an end again. It's kind of like Groundhog Day, which of course at the time of recording was just a few days ago, actually. And it's like you see these news stories like, wait a minute, we've had this before. It's like, we're going to do this and open up and then close again. So I think we all have, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Not necessarily buyer's remorse, but we have this, we've watched this show before and we're like, okay, great, things are opening. And we're just hoping it's like, okay, let's not close down again. But I'm sure you've seen, especially during this pandemic, a lot of, situations that have come about because, people have had to, sell their homes because, for some reason, they're just no longer able to live there.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, when this pandemic hit, we didn't know how to navigate this, right? We're like, wow, how do we value a house? Especially like in March, it was like around March, right? Like here in California, it was like I remember I was like going to go to the Laker game. I have Laker tickets. We were going to go see the Lakers and the Rockets, right? And it was going to be a pretty good game back in 19. I was like, okay, it was I think March 15th or something. You couldn't go to the Laker game, right? So it's like, how do we navigate this? So we had a house on the market to sell, and everything just kind of fell off. And no, there's no more. How do you show the house? There's just a lot of unknowns, So basically, we sold the house for a profit, but it wasn't the profit that we wanted. And we're like, oh man, now we're speculating. So anything that you're making an offer in March, you're probably not going to get paid until July, because you got to fix it up and sell it. So how do you transition to this new market that we thought was going to be the end of the world, so to speak, And it basically turned out to be the opposite. for us. We got through that time. Everybody kind of figured out how they're going to navigate at the beginning, like you said, the mask and all this other kind of stuff. And the market just took off. I mean, it just went through the roof, and we're like, wow, it was totally different than I expected. Most of the people we're dealing with, I haven't really seen too many people with COVID issues. It's just like we deal with a lot of people that inherit houses from their. There are some foreclosure people, don't get me wrong, but most of them are they inherit a house from their parents, or it's three siblings trying to sell mom's house that they had a lot of belongings in for a while. So other people now, but this is kind of new in the last probably 3 or 4, I'd say 6 months. A lot of people are moving out of state. Now that's the newest thing. Before everybody, now everybody, you see the stats and the migration. People are moving out of California because they want to. And a lot of the people we're dealing with now want to get out of the state, and they want to move on to other places because it's the cost of living is expensive here. So yeah, I think the new normal is it's like, but then again too, there's still not enough housing for the people that live here. So people are leaving, unfortunately, but then the people that are living here don't have places there's not enough houses on the market or houses to rent. So that's driving the price up. So it's really interesting. I mean, it's going to end eventually, but what's going to end is maybe the increases in the prices because the interest rates will go up, but people still need a place to live. So the rentals then it's going to be like, where are these people going to, where are the rentals showing up for people to rent? So it's just a huge problem. And it's not going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah, the population shifts and population growth, just, the fact that, there's more people in California and other parts of the country. Florida is another example. I was talking with a gentleman the other day, and, he owns property in Florida, and he says, I am thankful that I own it, because if I went to buy it now, it would be astronomical to buy. And, my parents had a place in Florida as well. My dad had passed in just prior to the pandemic in early March of 2020. And my brother and I moved my mom out of that house up to where my brother lives. And we listed it, and it sold really quick. But then, I was looking at the market down there the other day, and I told her, it's like, wow, too bad you didn't hold on to that, because you would have made an extra $60,000.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous on what the prices are.
Yeah.
And again, there's not enough people, or not enough places for, rentals or affordable housing and all that. It's a big challenge. And I think in time, I think the interest rates will help a bit to slow the market down a bit. But, toss in the fact where a lot of organizations are now allowing their employees, to work remotely. So a lot of people are saying, well, if I can work from anywhere, then instead of having a mortgage payment of whatever, outside of Los Angeles, I've always wanted to live in Montana or North Dakota or wherever, and they up and move because they can still do their work as long as they've got a decent internet connection. But again, there's a lot. And I've had talks with people that worked in the mortgage industry, and they said the last couple of years have been absolutely insane. Yeah, they're stressed and burned out because of the hours that they're working, because of the number of applications that are coming in. So
right, yeah,
it's been a weird. And I'm with you. I don't think any of us would have expected mass moving and people, selling homes and all that. But for your business, it definitely pays off really well.
Yeah, it has paid off extremely well, and the fact that I was established, so I kind of started doing this full time in 2014. So what I've noticed is the longer you've been in this business, the more credibility you get. It's easier to I borrow money from people, private money. I have a lot more people that'll do business with me because, the difference in California is you're probably borrowing anywhere from a minimum of $400,000 up to like maybe $700,000 to $800,000. I don't do $1 million homes. They're everywhere around here, right? So it's like you have more credibility with people that like to expand your business, because now you're more like, people know you've been in the game a while, and they're only getting 0.5% in the bank. Someone will gladly give you $500,000 that's on a property with a note and deed of trust, and it's below market value, probably by 60% sometimes when I'm borrowing, 70%, depends on what the deal is. And they're getting 9% instead of getting 0.5% at the bank. So people that understand that formula are almost like they're real happy to do business with you. And then you have a proven track record. and I have high core values that we set up as a company, even for myself. So I'm above board on everything. I'm not trying to fool anybody. I'm just real truthful with people on the way everything looks. So yeah, it's actually been getting a little. Business has gotten easier, believe it or not. I never thought I'd say that, but it's been a good time to be in business. That's for sure.
Yeah, and capital can be a difficult thing, especially as a small business owner. If you're a gigantic bank or business or something, a lot of times they have their own internal finance department that works with the big bank. So it's just here, go down to the third floor, fill out this and this, and then the money will be transferred into your department, kind of thing. In your situation, you're a small business organization, and it's sometimes really challenging to get those loans. But the fact that the investors are looking at that, it makes a lot of sense. It's like, you talk to anybody, it's like, okay, where are you parking your money? And you're like, well, okay, okay, I've got it in the bank. Okay, you're getting 0.00 whatever % interest. So congratulations, you might as well stick it under your mattress. You're going to get more, at least some dust. But and other people, that do investing, okay, if you invest well, but even, a lot of the funds, and investments in stocks aren't giving you an annualized return of 9%. You might, unless you pick the right stock that goes crazy for some reason. But most of the time, your mutual funds and other investments aren't giving you that type of annualized percent. And the turnaround time of it too, because you're borrowing it, and because using the phrase flipping, you're taking it, a couple months, boom, you're going to sell the house, and then once everything closes and everything there, you're paying back your loan, and wash, rinse, repeat. And
that's it. I want to basically take your money and use it again, right? That's
exactly.
My model. Yeah, and that's what's great about it. And then the stocks and the mutual funds and all that stuff is great if that's what you're into. But it takes work too, right? You got to actually watch that stuff. You think, I hired a guy. That's that's something that people, with your guy, if he's not watching it, you're gonna, it goes up and down. I mean, and it goes up and down. It's just, that's a whole other topic, right? But, another great thing that's happened too is that, being small business like ourselves, it's like, it's over with now. But if you took advantage of those SBA loans, there was a lot of money floating out there for pretty cheap. And they wanted you to give you you just had to kind of go ask for it. And then you had to prove yourself. They just weren't, they did ask for paperwork and stuff, but I was able to get some of those SBA loans, not the PPL or anything like that, but just basically a loan from the SBA because they offered it to me. So I did the paperwork, and that helped tremendously too, allowing to have some more cash to be able to expand the business too. So I took advantage of that too, since it was out there, and I appreciate that because the government was willing to kind of give you this money for cheap, 3.75% for 30 years. It's like a house loan, and that helped me grow too, because now all of a sudden I wasn't so limited with my own cash that I had. And then I'm using that money wisely, the way it's supposed to be used for your business. I'm not taking it for myself. I'm not paying myself with it. It's pretty much for the business. And by using that money for the business, it's helped me grow, because now I can flip more houses because I have more capital to kind of invest in the houses. So it's been really cool that way too. So
the garage isn't filled with Lamborghinis. Good to know. Yeah.
That might get you in trouble, right? So,
well, I know somebody that specializes in, his company rents out luxury cars. He doesn't own, he owns them. The business owns them, but he rents them out. And he's like, I would never own one. If you have this desire where you want to own a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, go rent one for a while, get it out of your system. Because you're going to be, the cost to maintain them is insane. In his situation, he says, okay, I forget what car he said he had. I think he's got 3 or 4 Lamborghinis. He's like, one's in the repair shop, one is being used. There's the third one that literally goes from rental to the repair shop because there's always something wrong with it. And it's like, they're just an absolute headache. And me being originally from Detroit, I know cars are necessities, but sometimes they're just gigantic headaches to deal with. And, it's good that you're using, the SBA loans. And I'm thankful that the government provides that, because small business is what makes our country grow.
Yeah, 100%.
Thrive.
Yeah.
Yes, the big companies create a lot of jobs, and income for the economy and all of that, but it's the small businesses the communities grow from. And like a situation with what the work you're doing is you're helping lives, and it's helping people start new lives, and doing it within a handful of months. It's a win-win in a way. I mean, you get to help somebody out that needs to move from this property, and then you're fixing it up, and then selling a house to somebody that can afford it and get a new house, and changing their lives as well. That's a wonderful place to be in.
Yeah, and that's on that topic, it's great because I have a vision for myself and for my company, and I read it quite often. I'm supposed to read it every morning. This is my rules. No one told me to do that, but I've been reading it for years. And it basically in my vision, that's what I kind of state, right? That I'm stating that like I'm improving the community. I'm helping people sell their I'm improving the lives of the people that I'm buying the houses from. And then it's even just so specific. It's like, I'm even getting testimonials from them, and they're thanking us, my team, because I have a great team too. So when I see those testimonials, and I'm pretty hands off with the buying process, I have a great team, but when I see these reviews on Google and even videos that people are giving us, it just reaffirms the fact that, wow, we are doing exactly what we're setting out to do. And the whole team buys into it. And, if you don't, like when we hire you, we read you the core values, and if it's not a good fit for you, well, you won't even get that far. In the interview process, we want to make sure that you're a good fit for the company. So you believe in the core values, right? And all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, it does make it a little easier doing business when you feel like you're doing business for a good cause, and that everybody's going in the right direction. So, it's just nice too when you sell the house to a nice family, and then and I even have the neighbors thank me afterwards, call me afterwards and say, hey man, thanks for getting that great family there, because other people were horrible. So it's just good it's just a really good I like what we're doing, and it makes business a lot more fun when you know you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, when you enjoy what you're doing, it's not work. It's pleasure and impacting lives, and it makes such a huge difference. So, where do you see business over that? It's hard to predict because with the pandemic and everything like that. But anything on the horizon you see that obviously we talked a little bit about the interest rate hikes that are coming. Spoiler alert, they're coming. I can't imagine. I can't imagine Fed Chair Powell going back on that one. That they need to happen. Because inflation, is a nasty thing. We'll find out what the consumer price index prices are tomorrow. Then we'll watch the stock market and go, maybe I don't want to look at my retirement fund right now, but we'll look at that another day. But at the end of the day, they've been held so low for so long that there does need to be some adjustment on some things. But where do you see the market, in the next few years?
I'm a California guy. So so California, we have our own unique situation. We're our own little climate here, right? We're our own little area. And I listened to a guy, a local guy named Bruce Norris, that he's really big on charts and graphs. All his decisions come from charts and graphs. So every time he speaks on a show, I listen to him. I subscribe to his newsletter. So I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, but he has a proven track record, and I've done some training with him before. So according to him, he did something last month, and so what he bases everything on is like affordability in California. So once affordability gets into like down to 17, which means like 17% of the people can only afford this payment in the state. Generally, that's like what he calls, that's kind of when there's a market correction. So we're kind of still like in the low 20s, but every time that interest rate goes up, and the price stays where it's at, because the price is here, you're going to probably take more people out of the buying pool. So with that being said, last time I heard him speak, he thought 2022, but the interest rates, this is where he thinks that, he's speculating the increases. They could come back tomorrow and say, hey, it's going to go up to 5%. I doubt it, but hey, we don't know all this stuff. So, if the interest rate's kind of I'm thinking that 2022 still might be, I'm going to do business as normal. Like I'm going to keep doing, of course, I'm not going to think that these houses that today I'm thinking it's worth 500,000, let's say around here, 700,000. I'm not going to go, hey, it's at 7, but it's going up 5% a month. So I'm going to add 35,000 in 4 months and think that this is where it's going to be. I kind of price things where they are right now, because they can go down too, obviously. But I'm kind of just staying like the plan that we had last year. We're aggressive when we make offers to people, but then again, too, we're not over speculating what we think it's going to be worth at the end. So I'm going to stick to that plan. I plan on buying flipping 24 houses a month. A year here. So that's my plan. I'm on track for that right now. And then some of the houses that I don't buy personally, I partner with people. So we're more aggressive with that, because that might be, I can partner with you with it, and we can work out a deal to where I'm not going to be as heavily invested money wise. So I'm just going to, in California, I'm going to go ahead and say that, 2022, I'm going to keep up with my plan and what I'm doing, my goals, and the way I'm trying to run my business. And at the end of 2022, or maybe the fourth quarter, start thinking about what I'm going to do for 2023. And that's kind of all I can say at this point. And people ask me all the time this question: how is the market? What do you what do you think it is? A real quick example is I put a house in Long Beach, California, on the market, $979. 3 days later, I took an offer at just under, let's just call it $1 million, $999, a bunch of nines on it, right? So if you got last week, the real estate market in Long Beach was pretty good. Why? Because I put it on the market. Within 3 days, I had 3 full price offers. Then I was able to counter the people and get a little bit more. And then put a lot of contingencies on there too. Like, hey, if it doesn't appraise, you're going to bring the extra money in, because people could offer $1 million, but it appraises for 940, which it could. You don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to bring the extra money in? Oh, we'll bring the extra money. So people are fighting over this house. So yeah, right now the crystal ball, it's not even a crystal ball. It's a case study. The market's still really strong right now. Now, the next time I put a house on the market, which I'm hoping is maybe, I have three we're selling right now. So that all happened in the last 2 weeks, really strong offers still. Probably, I think in the beginning of March, I'm going to have another one that's going to hit the market. I'll be able to tell you at the beginning of March how the market is still, right? And that's the only way I can really base my business on facts, so, but, I don't think the doom and gloom is happening yet, but everything you stated at the beginning of this question, the interest rate, this is all going to happen, and the pandemic, we don't really know how that's going to play in. So it's just interesting times. So just going to keep kind of marching forward with caution.
Yeah, your approach of just taking it as is, as we are right now, is probably the safest and smartest approach on things. And it's like, in March, we're going to list the house. You go outside and you go, okay, what's the temperature? Okay, the temperature is, we can sell this place for $779. Awesome. Okay, let's list it. And, then it ends up closing at, $850 or $899, or depending on the locale, might be even higher, just because of what's going on in there. And that's the best way to go about it. So, John, I've loved this conversation. Where can people find out more about you and all this great work you're doing?
Yeah, I have a website. You can go to John Medina Buys Houses.com. Then from there you can jump on. It has connections to all the socials like Facebook and Instagram and my Twitter. I don't think we do much on Twitter, but so that all kind of LinkedIn. That's what I was looking for. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we got connections there. I mean, you could my phone number is you could call and talk to Peggy if you're interested in selling your house. It's 310-928-9688. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there on me, so pretty easy to find. John Medina Buys Houses.
I'll definitely have that information in the show notes. So, John, congratulations again on your success, and thank you for improving neighborhoods and helping people get into the homes that they need to get out of and get into. So, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for the great work you're doing too. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Breakfast Leadership Show, part of the Breakfast Leadership Network. Visit breakfastleadership.com for tips on empowering your business and your life.